Revenge movies, obviously, are always the most vicious of horror films, but add in some heavy metal edges, some quality acting, and a lot of blood and guts, and you've got one badass revenge film. That's what you have to look forward to when you visit The Retaliators. Welcome back to ML Miller Frights. I'm ML Miller. Before we begin, please do me a favor and punch that like button down below. Share this video with all of your social media addicted pals. Click subscribe to this channel and ring that bell for notifications. The Retaliators is new in select theaters from Better Noise Films. Find out when and where you can see this film down below before the comments. Directed by Samuel Gonzalez Jr., Michael Lombardi, and Bridget Smith, and written by Darren Geare and Jeff Allen Geare. When the daughter of a pastor named Bishop, played by Rescue Me's Michael Lombardi, is killed by drug-running creepazoid Ram, played by Z Nation and Game of Thrones Joseph Gatt, Bishop, a devout pacifist, is filled with feelings of rage and helplessness. A police detective named Jed, played by Ozark's Mark Menchaca, who suffered a similar incident years before, manages to track down his daughter's killer and offers 1 minute alone with Ram for retribution. Will the pastor go against his own morals for some delicious cold revenge? And what happens when Ram's brother and his friends find out where Ram is being held? Revenge, madness, and chaos, baby. That's what happens. The Retaliators is a vicious horror revenge film made for metal and gearheads. The soundtrack sports tracks by hardcore metal bands such as Motley Crue, Asking Alexandria, Five Finger Death Punch, Nothing More, The Who, that's spelled H-U, Papa Roach, Bad Wolves, and Ava Under Fire. And the film features cameos by members of those bands, including Tommy Lee as a strip club DJ. While I love me some metal, I don't really keep track of who's in bands like I do movies and comics, so I didn't really recognize a lot of the cameos. But with much of the movie filled with gruff and gnarly-looking biker dudes, I imagine a lot of those cameos happened in those scenes. While many films like to cast actors who are obviously not bikers or gear or metalheads in these roles, there's an air of legit grunge and stank on these bad dudes, making them all the more of a threat to the pastor and the detective when they descend upon them. Props goes to this movie for feeling as dangerous as it obviously wants to be. Mark Menchaca is one of my favorite actors at the moment, so I'm always intrigued when I see his name in the credits. Here he does a good job of providing enough emotional depth to his haunted detective character Jed, while seeing him actually happy was kind of strange for me. He slips into the angst-ridden cop role easily and really serves as a nice backbone to the story. I'm less familiar with Michael Lombardi. When I saw the trailer, I originally thought it was Gael Garcia Bernal from Amores Perros and Y Tu Mamá También fame, and the upcoming Werewolf by Night. Even though it wasn't him, and I was a little disappointed of that, Lombardi delivers a soulful performance as a man conflicted with feelings of anger and devotion to his preachings. Lombardi has a lot of charisma, making him likable even though he's doing morally bad things. Finally, the culprit himself, Joseph Gatt, delivers a terrifying turn as Ram, who is as big as he is menacing. The guy is a monster of a man and really seems like someone you just wouldn't want to fuck with. While he spends most of the time silently staring at whatever prey is in front of him, he also is able to convey the desperation of a helpless captive, which might have been tough for a man his size. All around, even the one-liners delivered by the cameo appearances of the bandmates deliver those lines with conviction. While it might seem like a slam against the movie, I assure you it's not. Much of The Retaliators feels like you're watching an extended music video. It's filmed in a flashy and creative manner, fetishizing the lifestyle of these grungy characters and the lives they lead outside of the law. Because much of the film has some kind of background metal playing, there definitely is a MTV Hairbangers Ball feel to almost every second of this film. The thing is, though, using songs to project the mood and emotion in film is something I quite enjoyed, and I miss a lot now that music videos seem to have all but disappeared. So having the film play out with practically every emotional beat backed up by some metal band gave me a nostalgic feel that was downright addictive. I'm pretty sure the feminists of the crowd aren't going to be too keen on the retaliators. Aside from inspiration for revenge, victims for the killers, and eye candy for the less than law abiding dudes to drool and ogle over, there really isn't a large place for the fairer sex in this narrative. Still, because this is sort of an ode to crotch-driven metal, it just follows the trend of those much-lauded rock videos of the past, so I was willing to look past some of the more archaic moments. The revenge and the ensuing carnage that occurs in The Retaliators is over the top and excessive, but it reflects the metal lifestyle of its backup cast. Filmmakers Samuel Gonzalez Jr., Michael Lombardi, and Bridget Smith are fans of metal music, made obvious by the immersive dive into the energetic and angst-filled violence that goes on pretty much from the first minute of this film to the last. While the horror gets downright crazy and over the top in the last reel, the film still manages to have a rhythmic heartbeat and a shredded soul. There certainly are some agonizing scenes of carnage and blood, and body parts flying in every direction, so gorehounds have a lot to howl about here. Fans of more subtle horrors need not apply. This is for folks who don't mind a little in-your-face horror, and while it might not be for all, if you're a fan of metal and a fan of horror, two fandoms that often mix well like a cheap beer and a shot of whiskey, The Retaliators is the revenge-fueled movie for you.
You're doomed to live the life you're meant to be, stuck inside your